You unlock this door with the key in my dreams. You're moving into a land of memes in no time. You've just crossed over into the Bimmyverse.
Well, it's time for me to review another one of my AVGN masterpieces, Shrek. This episode came out March 15th, 2021. And of course, not to my surprise, my fans of the assholish variety hated on this episode, judging from the comment section on the Cinemassacre truth. But do you want to know what I think of it?
Take a wild guess.
I love it. Of course, my daughter loves this movie, and she begged me and the slobs to put this episode together for her. Justin, of course, who is great around kids, I might add, was thrilled to greenlight it, and that's how it happened, which is a weird coincidence when you think about it, because it was inducted in the Library of Congress at the same time my daughter wanted me to review a Shrek game.
You know what? Fuck this game!
Of course it had swearing, and she watched it, and April got so mad she made me sleep in the bed with Justin for an entire week as punishment. This is why I tried my best to make sure she watched the entire thing muted, but of course she grabbed the remote and turned on the subtitles. And that's when she was exposed to all the fucks and shits I was saying in the episode. It was something I had no control over, but oh well. So the episode starts with the nerd waking up and noticing himself in a warehouse out in the middle of Wisconsin where he sees some asshole dressed up as Shrek wanting to crucify him. I didn't know what the actor looked like because I made him wear the Shrek mask the entire time, of course, because I did my absolute best not to catch COVID while making this episode. All in all, this was a nice break from filming episodes with just one camera angle, which we had to do because of the pandemic. I didn't want to play the fairy tale freakdown game with my daughter, but she kept screaming, "Play it, Daddy!" So I finally did it to shut her the fuck up. I gotta say, it was cool to show off the history of the Game Boy player for the GameCube. I would have talked about multiple Shrek games, like the ones based on all four of the movies, as well as other games like Treasure Hunt, Super Party, Carnival Craze, Hassle at the Castle, Extra Large, Wreakin' Havoc, the racing games, blah 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 blah. But there was simply no time. The game review may have been only 3 minutes long, but fuck it, I guess. There wasn't much to say, except it's just a throwaway Shrek game for the Game Boy. I'm gonna squash your head like a grape, motherfucker! Yeah! Man, I really nailed that Shrek impression. The dumbasses should have hired me to play Shrek instead of Mike Myers. That would have been awesome. Oh, great, now I'm dead.
Did Shrek just fart?
Shrek farting, of course, was funny because, as you all know, I like poop jokes. They're the best. But why the fuck did they have to put that in the game? Ironic that I'm complaining about that since I never shut the fuck up about poop jokes in every single one of my nerd reviews. And do you want to know what I think of Shrek? Well, the nerd hates it, but I absolutely love it. In fact, I think this entire episode is even better than the movie Shrek because that's what I was going for when I made this review. I wanted to show the crew behind Shrek I could curate something even better than their movie. I always dreamed of doing a remake of Shrek starring me and my wife for my kids. But I don't have time for that, sadly, because I constantly have to watch them. All right, enough of my narcissistic rambling and lying about why I never have time. Back to the review. So as the nerd finishes the game and does the mandatory fuck this game bullshit, he sees the guy dressed in the Shrek mask stumble into the room. He knocks him out with an onion, and suddenly we're right back to where we started when this review began. The onion manages to fall out of the nerd's mouth, and as the guy is slowly approaching him ready to kill him, he trips on the onion and is knocked unconscious. The nerd heroically escapes and disguises himself as Shrek to fool the people coming after him.
Who the fuck builds their personality on Shrek?
Broger Shrek.
Fuck! I mean, Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
Indeed.
The ending to this episode is epic. Fans accused me of not playing the nerd in this scene where he's wearing the Shrek mask. But of course that's me. I did play the character for this scene.
Fuck Shrek! Fuck Smash Mouth! And fuck you, assholes!
After all, you hear me talking, right? I was even accused of not appearing in those island scenes from the Jurassic Park Trespasser episode. I mean, look, there's the nerd. I play that character, right? That's me, see? It's the same thing as how I'm accused of not writing the nerd episodes anymore.
Monster Madness is back. The website's back. We're very excited and hope you enjoy it this whole month. But there's a bit of a rocky start. The first episode had a problem with the script. One of our writers had somehow added a portion that was taken from a pre-existing article.
Wait, Monster Madness plagiarism, you say? Well,
my apologies. even though I'm not the one who did it.
It's quite ironic that I'm saying that I filmed that scene with those random actors, since in my behind the scenes video, I was complaining that I had to film the entire scene where I was tied up with an onion in my mouth all by myself because of the pandemic. Well, here's how it all happened. Screenwave offered to help.
Hey, I'm Justin.
But I told them they had to wear a mask, which they didn't want to, so they had to sit this one out.
Wish we didn't have COVID and all this fucking bullshit.
And of course, April can't help me because she has to watch the kids every time I film a nerd episode. But I did fly out to Wisconsin and wore the Shrek mask the entire time on the plane, and when I filmed with those random nobodies so that I wouldn't catch COVID. I guess you could say, I'm a curator of pandemic filmmaking. The ending where the nerd is crucified in The Wicker Man is just beautiful. I always wanted to own that hack Nicolas Cage from that terrible remake, and even Edward Woodward from the original with my vastly superior version of the Wicker Man scene, and I think I really did it justice. So all in all, I love this episode. I think it's a bona fide masterpiece. Of course, my fans of the asshole-ish variety may hate it, but I view it as a work of art. I haven't been able to make anything to top this episode, but maybe someday. But did I think it was as good as the immortal review I covered last Monster Madness? Nah, but it's still a great film curation nonetheless.